It would mean everything. That's like one of my dreams as a kid growing up. You always want to be an Olympic gold medalist. So I know how special it is to represent USA across your chest. So being able to do that on the highest level would certainly be a dream come true.
What if Caitlin Clark, not Diana Taurasi, had rocked Team USA's Olympic jersey? When I saw the roster back then, I spat out my coffee so hard it hit a neighbor's cat 2 houses away. But you know what? I'm not mad anymore. Because this weekend, Caitlin Clark has the perfect opportunity to show everyone they were wrong. She's going up against Diana Taurasi's Phoenix Mercury, and you know she's going to be out for blood.
Coming into the game, logo!
Now, don't get me wrong. Diana Taurasi is a legend. She's got more gold medals than my grandma's jewelry box.
I'm just happy, you know. Sometimes you don't think the end's ever close, but when it is, it really makes you feel grateful.
How do you get in there, brother?
Lucky. I said I was with my idols when I was young. I was with my counterparts in the middle. Now I get to see these young superstars growing, and I'm just happy to be a part of it, and they'll continue the legacy for sure.
But here's the thing. The Olympics have come and gone. And let's just say Taurasi's performance was about as impressive as my attempt at doing yoga. It was, well, let's break it down, shall we? Taurasi at the Olympics was like a cameo appearance in a blockbuster movie blink. And you might miss it. She spent more time on the bench than I spend on my couch. And that's saying something. In fact, she was on the bench so much, I'm pretty sure she left a permanent imprint. The bench was like, Diana, I love you, but I need some space. But wait, it gets better. Or worse, depending on your perspective. In the entire Olympic tournament, Taurasi scored only 1 basket. Yeah, just 1. It's like she went to a buffet and came back with a single grape.
This is literally the worst shot in NBA history. He got nice form on it though, don't he? What you alls gonna get you, Corey?
And the final, oh girl, the final. Taurasi played as many minutes in the gold medal game as I did, which is to say, 0, nada. She had a front row seat to watch her teammates win gold, like a really expensive cheerleader. Meanwhile, Clark's been tearing up the court like a toddler with scissors. She's been putting up numbers that make calculators overheat. Speaking of which, let's look at the numbers this season. But that's besides. Let's break down why the matchup this weekend is spicier than my failed attempt at making homemade hot sauce. Number 1, the age gap. Taurasi is 42 and Clark is 22. That's a bigger gap than the one in Madonna's front teeth.
How do you do, fellow kids?
What? When Taurasi was Clark's age, Clark was still mastering the art of not eating paste. I mean, Taurasi's been in the game longer than some of you have been alive. She has seen more court time than Judge Judy. But Clark? She's fresher than the Prince of Bel-Air. She's got more energy than a squirrel on espresso. When she steps on the court, it's like watching a tornado in sneakers. Now, to the second point, the Olympic hangover. Taurasi's coming off an Olympic performance that is more notable for its absence than its presence. As the stats show, she scored fewer points than I have fingers on one hand. Actually, less than I have on one finger. Speaking of stats, Clark's been putting up numbers that make Stephen Curry look like he's playing in slow motion. Taurasi, meanwhile, has been more absent from the scoreboard than my exes from my life.
Do I need to call you the female version of Steph Curry, or do I need to call Steph Curry the male version of Caitlin Clark?
Somebody break down the release time, which is pretty much identical to mine.
Well, the third point is the chip on the shoulder. Clark's got a chip on her shoulder so big, it's visible from space. She's got more to prove than a flat earther at a NASA convention. Our final point is the future versus the past. This game isn't just about who wins. It's about the changing of the guard. It's like watching the moment in The Lion King when Simba takes over Pride Rock. Except instead of lions, we've got ballers. And instead of Pride Rock, we've got a basketball court. Now, I can already hear the Taurasi fans sharpening their pitchforks. But she's a legend. They'll cry. She's got experience. They'll wail. And to that, I say, yeah, and my dad's got experience telling dad jokes. But that doesn't mean I want to hear them at every family dinner. Look, I'm not saying Taurasi isn't great. She's amazing. She's the GOAT. She knows more about basketball than I'll ever know. But at some point, you gotta pass the torch. And right now, that torch is looking at Caitlin Clark like, hey girl, you free next Olympics? Wanna go to Los Angeles? This weekend, we're not just watching a basketball game. We're watching Clark's audition for the role of future of women's basketball. It's like watching the finals of America's Got Talent. Except instead of Simon Cowell, we've got millions of basketball fans judging. But here's the real question. What happens if Clark absolutely demolishes this game? What if she drops 50 points, 15 assists, and makes Taurasi look like she's playing in quicksand? What if she plays so well that the Olympic Committee starts sweating more than me when I accidentally like a 3-year-old Instagram post at 2 a.m.? I'll tell you what happens. Somewhere in a dimly lit room, the Olympic Committee will start frantically Googling how to apologize to a 22-year-old basketball prodigy. But let's be real for a second. This isn't just about Clark versus Taurasi. This is about the future of women's basketball. It's about recognizing talent when it's staring you in the face, doing a little dance, and holding up a sign that says, "Hey, I'm really good at basketball. You should have picked me." Clark represents a new generation of players. She's part of a wave of young talent that's changing the game. She plays with a style and flair that makes even casual fans sit up and take notice. When she's on the court, it's not just a game, it's a show. It's like if Broadway and the NBA had a baby, and that baby could drain 3-pointers from half court. And let's talk about those 3-pointers for a second. Clark's range is so deep, I'm pretty sure she could hit a shot from the parking lot. She's got more range than a cowboy with a lasso.
Every time you go to take one of those logo threes, I think to myself, she's never gonna make that.
You don't have confidence in me?
I know, I know, I should have confidence. But then you do make it, and I think I should have known she was gonna make that. But I wondered, what goes through your mind right before you take that shot?
I think the biggest thing is just confidence. I think sometimes, I feel like I'm closer to the basket than I really am, but also, the adrenaline gets going, the crowd gets behind you.
But it's not just her scoring that makes Clark special. It's her court vision, her passing ability, her leadership. She's got the whole package. She's like the Amazon Prime of basketball players. She does it all, and she does it fast. Now, I'm not saying Taurasi can't still ball. She can. She's like the Tom Brady of women's basketball, somehow still in the game long after most players have hung up their sneakers. But even Brady eventually had to make way for the young guns. It's the circle of life, folks. Hakuna Matata and all that jazz. This weekend, we're not just watching a game. We're watching Clark try to rewrite history. We're watching her attempt to prove that leaving her off the Olympic team was a bigger mistake than my decision to get a no regrets tattoo. So, what's gonna happen? Will Clark light up the scoreboard like a Christmas tree? Will Taurasi find her long-lost Olympic form and remind everyone why she's a legend? Will I make it through this entire video without making another Lion King reference? Spoiler alert, I won't. Be prepared. Here's my prediction. Clark's gonna come out guns blazing. She's gonna play with a chip on her shoulder the size of Texas. She's gonna be dropping dimes, hitting threes, and making plays that'll have basketball fans rewinding their DVRs more times than I rewind my favorite parts of The Office. Taurasi, being the competitor she is, isn't gonna go down without a fight. She's gonna dig deep, channel her inner Mufasa, and try to show why she deserved that Olympic spot. But let's be real, if her Olympic performance is anything to go by, she might need to channel her inner Simba instead. You know, the young, energetic one. But in the end, I think Clark's gonna prove that she should have been on that plane to Paris. She's gonna show that sometimes you need to take a chance on the new kid. That sometimes raw talent and potential can outweigh experience. And when the final buzzer sounds, I think we're all gonna be left wondering the same thing. How in the world did the Olympic Committee watch Clark play and think, nah, we're good with our bench warmer? It's gonna be more baffling than the plot of Inception, or why anyone thought Cats would make a good movie. So there you have it. The stage is set, the players are ready. It's Clark versus Taurasi, youth versus experience, the future versus the legend. It's gonna be more exciting than finding a curly fry in your regular fries. Whatever happens, one thing's for sure. Women's basketball is in good hands. With young stars like Clark ready to take the reins, the future's looking brighter than my forehead after a long run. So grab your popcorn, settle in, and get ready for a show. Because this weekend, we're not just watching basketball. We're watching Caitlin Clark audition for the role of basketball superstar who should have been in the Olympics but is too busy being awesome to care. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. Also, remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.